Hi, I'm Portia, and I am going to have a story time, and I'm going to be on here quite regularly to read you a story. And first, I would like to say hi to some special kiddos of mine, Anthony, Genevicia, Cameron, and Danny. I love and miss you very much and can't wait to see you again. Well, the story I'm going to read today is called George and Martha One Fine Day. These are about two hippopotamuses, and they're very good friends of mine. And I enjoy learning all about them in their books. They have several. You can find George and Martha books anywhere that sells books. Okay, George and Martha One Fine Day. These are 5 stories about two best friends. Story number 1 is called The Tightrope. One morning, when George looked out his window, he could scarcely believe his eyes. Martha was walking a tightrope. "My stars!" cried George. "I could never do that." "Why not?" asked Martha. "It's tons of fun." "But it's so high up," said George. "Yes," said Martha. "And it's such a long way down," said George. "That's very true," said Martha. "It could be quite a fall," said George. I see what you mean," said Martha. And suddenly Martha felt uncomfortable. For some reason she had lost all her confidence. She began to wobble. George realized his mistake. Now he had to do some fast talking. "Of course," he said, "anyone can see you love walking the tightrope." "Oh, yes?" said Martha. "Certainly," said George, "and if you love what you do, you'll be very good at it, too." Martha's confidence was restored. "Watch this," she said, and Martha did some fancy footwork on her tightrope. Have you ever walked on a tightrope? Bet that would be fun, huh? Story number 2, The Diary. A diary is a book that you write all your special secrets and wants and desires in. And you don't let anybody else read it because it's your special book. Maybe your mom and dad have kept journals in the past. Are you writing stories about the virus, the coronavirus, and the time that we're spending at home? Whenever Martha sat down to write in her diary, George was always nearby. "Yes, George," said Martha. I was just on my way to the kitchen," said George. Said Martha. Martha decided to finish writing outdoors. "How peculiar," she said to herself. "I can still smell George's cologne." Then Martha heard leaves rustling above her. Who do you think that was? "Aha!" she cried. "You were spying on me." "I wanted to see what you were writing in your diary," said George. "Then you should have asked my permission," said Martha. "May I peek in your diary?" asked George politely. You see George with his yellow tooth? "May I peek in your diary?" "No," said Martha. And she walked away. I guess she told him. Story number 3, The Icky Story. At lunch, George started to tell an icky story, and Martha strongly objected. "Please have some consideration," she said. But George told his icky story nonetheless. "You're asking for it," said Martha. Has anybody ever told you an icky story when you were trying to eat? That's considered very rude. When Martha finished her lunch, she told an icky story. And it was so icky that George felt all queasy inside. He couldn't even eat his dessert. "You're the champ," said George. "Don't make me do it again," said Martha. "Oh, I won't," said George. See how he turned a little green? Story number 4. The Big Scare. Boo! Cried George. Have mercy, screamed Martha. Martha and her stamp collection went flying. I'm sorry, said George. I was feeling wicked. Well, said Martha, now it's my turn. Go ahead, said George. Not right away, said Martha slyly. All her stamps went flying. Suddenly, George found it very difficult to concentrate on what he was doing. Any minute now, Martha is going to scare the pants off me, he said to himself. It's hard to wait for something, isn't it? Have your parents ever sent you to your room to wait for your punishment? That's sometimes the worst part, isn't it? Waiting. See what's going to happen. But a spanking's not too much fun either. Maybe she's hiding someplace, he said. George made sure that Martha wasn't hiding under the sink. Personally, I don't think Martha could fit under that sink, do you? During the day, George got more and more nervous. Any minute now, he said. But Martha was relaxing in her hammock. I'm sorry, I forgot to scare you, said Martha. That's all right, said George. It wouldn't have worked anyway. I'm not easily frightened. I know, said Martha. The last story. It's about an amusement park. Have you ever been to an amusement park and ridden on the rides and eaten the fun food? Maybe when this old virus is over, we can all go out this summer and have a wonderful time. That evening, George and Martha went to the amusement park. They rode the Ferris wheel. A Ferris wheel is a great big circle with seats that goes round and round. And the buckets swing, too. They also rode the roller coaster. Have you ever ridden a roller coaster? It goes up and down and up and down and all around. Sometimes it could get you sick, but it's fun. They also rode the bumper cars. They were having a wonderful time. But in the tunnel of love, Martha sat very quiet. It was very, very dark in there. Suddenly, Martha cried, "Boo! Have mercy!" screamed George. See, I didn't forget after all, said Martha. So I see, said George. The end. I hope to read a lot of stories to you guys. And you're more than welcome to share this video to anybody that would like to hear about George and Martha. I'll try to find some more George and Martha books, but I've got some more that I'd like to share too. So you have a wonderful day, and you obey Mom and Dad. Be good. Give them lots of hugs and kisses. Bye-bye.